Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? We are having a lot of conversations. I, hand in the air, have had a lot of conversations about the Saints quarterback room and the need to add a veteran. I firmly believe that needs to happen. The question is, are you trying to add a veteran that's high level, high dollar that can help you win, or someone that's just going to be a mentor and a bridge for your younger players? I don't know how it's going to work out. We know Aaron Rodgers is now going to sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That means that room is shrunk. That list of potential veterans is shrunk. Teddy Bridgewater's still out there. There's the possibility the Atlanta Falcons releasing Kirk Cousins. One of the ones, though, that I want to circle in a big, big red marker to keep an eye on throughout this offseason is Cleveland. And Tommy Rees, remember him? Tommy Rees is now the Cleveland Browns offensive coordinator, and they have 5 quarterbacks. That's 5 if you include Deshaun Watson, who's recovering from a ruptured Achilles tendon, and he shared some recovery video, and he's doing a lot of dynamic workout, and he's trying to get back to the field. But outside of Deshaun Watson, it's Joe Flacco. Remember, they have Kenny Pickett there as well, and they drafted 2 quarterbacks, Dillon Gabriel from Oregon and Shedeur Sanders from Colorado. So they have 4, and then 5 if you include Deshaun Watson. So there's virtually no chance that they're going to training camp with 5 quarterbacks on the roster. For whatever it's worth, Tommy Rees talked about those 4 guys all being in the mix here.
You can see them all winning the job, I think, right? And so in terms of the competition, we're so early in the process. We're so early in evaluating it. But, I think, we have a good group of guys that continue to push one another. And by the time September rolls around, we'll be ready to go.
Okay. Said all 4 could win the job. And you know what? I don't think that's coach speak. Like, you use draft picks on guys that are certainly players that have a high ceiling you think could win it. You brought in Joe Flacco, who's a former Super Bowl champion and has been in the league for a decade and a half. And then you brought in Kenny Pickett, who's 3 years into his NFL career, but was a first-round pick and gives you a young veteran presence. I mean, they all have different things to offer. Some with higher ceilings, some with lower floors, some with dynamic ability, some with youth, some with veteran experience. They're all very different. And it's why Tommy Rees kind of talked about this being fluid as well.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fluid. We're going to continue to work with all the guys we have. We're going to develop all 4 of them, and we're going to push the reps. We're going to find ways to be creative to make sure that they all have opportunities to develop and put their best foot forward. And when the time comes, we'll continue to push guys forward as they earn it.
So they'll go through this process, but there's this general feeling that it's hard to believe there's going to be 4 on the roster. Now, let me just first throw the wrinkle, which is Deshaun Watson. The Browns have moved on. Right? They brought in Kenny Pickett. They brought in Flacco. They drafted 2 quarterbacks. The Browns have moved on from Deshaun Watson. Here's the problem. Deshaun Watson doesn't become an unrestricted free agent until 2027. And when you look at Deshaun Watson's contract, there is just nobody that is trading for Deshaun Watson. His deal for next year, forgive me, I had it pulled up. I'm sorry. Just give me one quick second. Deshaun Watson's contract, here it is. When he signed a 5-year, $230 million deal, fully guaranteed, Deshaun Watson doesn't become a free agent until 2027. So these are his cap numbers in Cleveland under this contract. If this would load. Of course, you're not going to freaking load, you moron machine. Sorry. Internet problems. Bottom line is, in 2 years, Deshaun Watson has like an $80 million dead cap hit. There's just no way Cleveland's going to punt on that, and there's no way that someone's going to take on his contract is what it amounts to. Cleveland is hoping to be able to keep him on the roster and recover insurance money by having Deshaun Watson on the roster. So in any event, it's a giant mess that Cleveland has with Deshaun Watson, but he wants to play. And if they don't want him to play in Cleveland, but they have his rights, they're kind of stuck because no one's going to trade for him. So Watson's an interesting one. I don't think there's a realistic scenario where Cleveland trades either of the young guys. They brought in Gabriel. They brought in Shedeur. They're going to give those guys a chance to go win the job because you have a relatively low investment with a 3rd and a 5th round pick respectively in those 2 guys. And so then you just look forward and say, okay, what if you hit on one of your lottery tickets? You're going to hold that lottery ticket. So it really comes down to Flacco or Pickett. And either one of those guys, I think, could be interesting for New Orleans if Cleveland's willing to part with either of them. Flacco, I think, is the guy that I would like to see in New Orleans if there were one. He's a guy right now, Joe Flacco, that has not been, this is hard to believe, but Joe Flacco has not been a full-time starter in the NFL since 2017. Remember, the Baltimore Ravens had paid Flacco to be their franchise quarterback. Then they drafted Lamar Jackson 32nd overall. Flacco's last year as the full-time starter was in 2017. Then that transition to Lamar began in 2018. And since then, Flacco has started. So starting in 2018, these are his starts annually. 9, 8, 5, 2, 5, 5, 8. Those are his games played. Those are games played. These are his starts. Forgive me. These are his starts. So starting with 2018, Joe Flacco has started 9, 8, 4, 1, 4, 5, 6. He's just not a starting quarterback in the NFL anymore. He can be a guy that can give you a handful of starts. If your starter gets injured and you need someone to come in and keep the ship afloat, I think in New Orleans, that's what you're looking for. And a guy that's won a Super Bowl, that's seen the ups and downs in the league, that's had been a franchise quarterback and then had his franchise draft a younger player to come take his job, which ultimately he did, then bounce around. I mean, Flacco spent 2019 with Denver. You remember that? And then 2020 and 2021 and 2022 with the Jets. And then he was with Cleveland in 23 and Indy last year. I mean, he's been through a lot. And that's the kind of veteran guy I'm talking about that I would love in the quarterback room to mentor my young guys. Maybe Flacco starts the season as your starter for the first 5 games, and then it's a bridge to one of the younger guys. But the truth is Cleveland's probably thinking the same thing. And Kenny Pickett turns 27 tomorrow. It's June 5th today. Kenny Pickett turns 27 June 6th. He's almost exactly 1 year older than Tyler Shuck. He's been 3 years in the league, but it's not like he's got like this great veteran knowledge and experience. He's still a relatively young guy who's almost the same age as Tyler Shuck. So, 3 years in Pitt, he was 15 and 10 and 25 starts. I don't know that Kenny Pickett's the guy that I'm looking to bring in. That's not the guy with the knowledge base that I want to impress upon my younger players. If Cleveland would take a 7 for Joe Flacco, I'd give him a 7. I'd give him a 6 for Joe Flacco to have a handful of starts and that veteran presence in this quarterback room that hopefully Shuck and Rattler can lean on and learn from. They didn't get it from Derek Carr, clearly. Maybe Flacco would be the guy. Will Cleveland trade him? Don't know. Would the Saints want to trade for him? Don't know. But that's about as spot on the type of player that I'm talking about, where I'm talking about a bridge quarterback with a lot of experience. He'd be a good mentor for the young guys. That's Flacco, I think. Check. Make it happen. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.